What's up, everybody? You are tuned into season 2 of the Elks Call. My name is Scout, aka the rep from Section X,
And I am Catherine, aka Do You Even Elks?
and today we are going to talk Elks, CFL, and more with the owner of Fancentric, former NFL, CFL, and Double E offensive tackle. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Garrick Jones. Garrick, how
We
you
finally
doing?
made it.
Yes, we finally made it.
Oh, good. Good to be here, guys. I thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for joining us today. How's the first month of the year treating you? Like, did you have any resolutions or anything like that?
No resolutions, but I knew that this first quarter of the year was going to be hectic for me. So it's been a lot of traveling, a lot of meetings with investors and things of that nature. So we're putting together some plays, man. I think you guys are going to like what we got in store for everybody. So
Oh, that's fantastic because that's exactly what we want to talk to you about today. Big portion of our show today. Uh,
absolutely.
Super stoked. Before we get started, we'd like to thank everyone who is tuning into the show, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, X, TuneIn, Edmonton Sports Talk, or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to hit like and subscribe at Shotgun Sports Network on YouTube so we can give away that 2015 signature series jersey once we hit 500 subscribers. So yeah, thanks again, everybody. iHeartRadio, by the way, we're on there too. So that's
Yeah.
another one of those big ones.
Yes.
Got to get around everywhere, you know.
So
Just like
it's literally everywhere.
just like Garrick Jones, apparently. So yeah.
I know,
So
right?
speaking of which, let's get into the schedule. First, we're going to start the show with the more you didn't know, where we're going to interview Garrick and talk about his life on and off the turf, as well as his vision for an athletic ownership group. So after that, we're going to give you an Edmonton sports update. Then we're going to break down the latest Elks transactions in Kathy's Herd Report, brought to you by Herdies. And then to cap the show, we're going to open up the fan forum where we talk about hot topics surrounding the CFL and the sports world as a whole. So let's get this show started.
Let's do
With,
it.
with the more you didn't know with you, Garrick. So in this segment, we're going to have a conversation. We're going to get to know you better and we're going to ask some questions. So as well to our live viewers right now in the herd chat, blow it up, get in there, get your questions in there. And especially if we have time, we will definitely get your questions onto the show. So, Garrick, you've had a storied career, but as we know, all great stories have a beginning. So, what made you want to become a football player and how did you start your journey?
Man, to be honest with you, I never loved football, to be honest with you. It was my brothers. I was the youngest of two older brothers,
Right.
and they were the athletes. And I was just, I was in the art, band, I was this guy, right? But I was athletic, when it was time to be at different times. But I never really was into sports like that. And I watched them, man. They were supposed to be the guys that were in the NFL, the CFL, the NBA, MLB, those things. But, they chose to go a different route, in the streets a little bit and doing their thing, having fun. But it wasn't really until I got, I was in grade 7, grade 8, and I had some coaches come to me, and they said, "Hey, I don't know how serious you are about sports and about football, but they say we can see you on Sunday right now from a lot of what you're doing." And I was a late bloomer, to be honest with you. Like I said, I was all about band, so I had to make a decision by grade 9 if I was going to continue to play in the band or if it was going to be football. So I decided to go ahead and jump on in with football. It gave me an opportunity to really start looking at school and the possibility of getting school paid for. So at that point, I just wasn't going to be big and in class and not doing anything. So I decided to go ahead and stick with the football. I'm glad I did. But I've always done so much outside of the sport, and that's kind of been my deal. I have so many different things that I like to do, but I was blessed to be able to do it at the highest level and be successful. And that's kind of my deal, man.
No,
Yeah.
it's pretty sweet.
And I mean, you grew up in Arkansas.
Yes,
played
North Little Rock.
football for Arkansas State and
Yep.
came up through the system in your home state, of course. So what was that like?
Oh, it was cool. Of course, Arkansas State was considered the other Arkansas outside of the Razorbacks, of course. So everybody, from my neighborhood to across the state, were Razorback crazy. And when I was coming out of high school, I was recruited, really heavily and had a ton of offers. But I decided to stay in state. I had some situations at the house with my folks, and my mom was, she was kind of sick at the time, and I've told this story before, but I was recruited by Arkansas. I was offered. I just didn't like the environment at the time, with the head coach that they had there, and I couldn't see myself spending 4 years there, and this, that, and the third. So, um, got wind that there was a new head coach coming into Arkansas State, and he had just, finished the Rose Bowl with Eddie George and all those guys at Ohio State when they were on the national championship, and he was coming to town, and we would actually be playing, all of the teams that offered me, and we were independent, so we were playing everybody. So it was cool. I got a chance to go to A State and met some really good people, and was around a lot of good coaches. And Mike Tomlin, that was his. He was a receivers coach there at the time, so now he's the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach. And it's a lot of history that came from Arkansas State, man. A lot of good guys, a lot of good people. And man, I wouldn't trade it for the world. But I played a lot of different individuals and had some fun with it.
Oh, that is awesome. That is, like even Mike Tomlin, right? Being around
Yeah,
like
yeah,
some of those greats, and now we consider them greats, right? And um,
right.
these coaches and players that they're hearing those stories, especially from former players, and to see how small the world of football is.
Oh,
Hmm.
it's very
But
small.
like even the Zach Laros, let's say somebody's
Right.
talking about Taylor
Yep.
Swift on here is in
Yeah.
the herd chat talking about Taylor Swift already, but
Right, right.
Zach Collaros is in the box, and that's because the Kelseys and Collaros used to play together.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So love to hear that. Now, you were signed by the Jacksonville Jaguars out of college, undrafted,
Yeah,
but things didn't quite go as planned, and then you ended up heading to Canada and you went to play for the Blue Bombers. Uh,
right.
what can you tell us about your first season playing in Winnipeg for the CFL?
Man, it was wild, man. Because I didn't have a senior season of college, so I ended up leaving after my junior year. So I had chased scouts from Little Rock to LA, and from LA back to Mobile, Alabama to the Senior Bowl. So I was out of ball for a minute, and got the opportunity to work out for the scouts while I was on the road. And eventually, when I got to the Senior Bowl, they really worked me out. And Jacksonville was one of the ball clubs that said, you know what, you might have an opportunity. So they let me know what they needed to see by the time I got to pro day, and I met and exceeded those expectations, man. And they brought me in as a high priority free agent after the draft. And when I came in, that was like my first taste of the politics over playing time and how that system worked, And I met a lot of good guys there. I had the opportunity to work my way up until they signed the tackle that they drafted, and then I was on my way out. So I went from 111-degree weather in Jacksonville to -3 and raining sideways in Winnipeg when I first got there. Right, so it was different. I didn't know anybody. I barely knew the rules. I got a chance to kind of get into it a little bit, but I didn't know anything about the game. And by the second day of practice, Coach Dave Ritchie, came up to me and said, "You're starting at left tackle." So, and that first game was against Alfred Payton, the sack leader from the year before. So I was with a good group of guys. I had some good vets around me, Mo Elwanibi and Dave Mudge, and those guys said, "Hey, you might not know the plays, but you're going to go back down to the States, and we're going to help you." So they would be pointing out where I needed to go, letting me know what plays there were, and that's how we made it, man. So it was fun, man. It was the best time I ever had as a professional athlete. Loved the peg. The peg was really good to me. And man, that's when I fell in love with the CFL.
So, with that, you've been on the roster for 4 different NFL teams and 3 in the CFL. So
Oh yeah,
you finished your career with a double E in 2009, and of
right.
course, it's clear that you have love for both the league and the green and gold. But
Yeah.
What I want to know is, what do you like most or more or maybe less? What is
Mhm.
your opinion of the CFL versus the NFL? Which one do you like more?
Oh, CFL all day. CFL all day. And
Love it.
and I mean, I can say it with a straight face, but the NFL, it's a lot more time consuming. There is a ton of politics in it. I mean, it's politics in all of football, from a professional standpoint. But I think the job security, those are a lot of the things that went on in the NFL. Every Tuesday, no matter how good you played, there was somebody that'll replace you. They were working guys out, that day on your day off. So it was that kind of a cycle, man. And with that level of non-job security, it was a lot of stress. And the days were long. I mean, of course, you're getting paid a lot of money, but at the end of the day, it wears on you. It takes a toll on you. And I think that's why the careers are really so short there.
Mhm.
But as far as with the CFL, we got to remember, I was doing a lot of other things. I'm out networking, talking to people in the community, doing all kind of different things. So when we were done practicing, after our 4 hours, it was time for me to go to work, and that was really cool for me to just get out and just meet the people and just be there, that was one of the things that I really liked about it. So I think the differences were with the CFL, it was a lot of opportunity to be enthralled with the fans. And with the NFL is not that. With the NFL is not that. But at the end of the day, it's we made it through it. But I think the CFL was just, for me, it was a blast, man. I loved it.
That's
That's
amazing.
awesome. I do have a follow-up question before we
Yeah.
move into, what we came to talk about. But
Okay.
you did mention that, there's a lot more to you than just football, right? That
Oh
you have
yeah.
a lot of other hobbies, that you have a lot of other things that you like to do other than that. And because, when you grew up, you were not necessarily the athlete of the family. If
Right.
you didn't end up being in football, in the CFL and the NFL, what would you be doing?
A team owner.
Yeah.
A
Nice.
team owner.
Look at
Yeah. No. I mean, there was so much, to it. I think sports helped me really kind of focus, a lot of what I wanted to do. But I've always been blessed with, with the ability to really grasp a lot. And when it came down to, meeting people and just identifying and being able to relate to people, I've always had that knack, and that's something that I didn't really realize what it was until like now. Um, but yeah, it would be some form of ownership, running a business. I started my first business when I was 13. That was graphics design and marketing and promotion and all the different things you see. It's a lot of what my company and myself do when we get the opportunity. But it would have been some form of ownership. It's just, that's just always been in me. And that was when I was playing. It was on the job training. Even though I knew my position and I knew how to play the game, I was mirroring and shadowing all of the other components like the GM and the team presidents and all
Yeah,
those different things, man. So yeah, I'd have been an owner if I hadn't played ball.
that's
Kind of just
awesome.
being around it and playing, how it works in your head, right? That's
Right,
sounds
right.
like that's exactly what you're doing. And it's funny because that's what we want to talk about next. Um, so with the future, you're trying to build something here, and we know you're a businessman. We know that you've been an entrepreneur since high school, like you just
Right,
said, right? So
right,
you own Fancentric and then 73 Holdings LLC.
right, right.
So tell us a little bit more about both of those businesses, Garrick.
So 7-3 is more so the umbrella company. And under that, we have a ton of verticals, which Fancentric DAO is essentially a NFT rewards community for sports fans to be able to have perks, benefits, be able to have exclusive meet and greets, all of the things that fans, as I listened to them, said that they wanted. It gives them a voice, because a lot of times, especially in the NFL, you can go 0-17 or 17-0 and still be, as a team, still be profitable. So there's not a real reason for ownership to really listen to the fans, right? Because they know, we're gonna get your money anyway. So, yeah, whatever. So as I really got in tune with the fans, we said, hey, let's just start figuring out the best way to invite the fans into where they actually have an opportunity to have a voice and be able to be a part of decision making and those types of things. So we just said we'll take what Edmonton was doing back in the day. We'll take what Green Bay was doing with the community owned type of atmosphere and take it to the 21st century. So as we look to buy teams, we'll incorporate and infuse fan centric into the DNA of what's going on. To where now we have the old guard, and then we have the younger generation that's a little more in the crypto and in the DeFi space. But all of the opportunities we have will be felt by all of the fans. And that's one of the best things right there. But then you got the private equity fund in which we get a chance to bring in institutional capital investors, accredited investors, and now we have a chance to go after big teams, right? So which is really cool because it's based on sports acquisitions and real estate. So it's kind of like the McDonald's model. That's real estate, right? If you ever watch The Founder, that's essentially what we're doing. We're building sports and entertainment districts around these teams that we're looking to purchase, and that gives us an opportunity to have retail, restaurants, concert venues, condos, hotels, any and everything you can think of that will generate revenue 365 days a year, and that runs parallel with the teams that we have in the district. So those are that's a hedge of protection, right? That's how you have fans in the stands. You want to make it a destination. And that's essentially what we're looking to do with teams that we acquire at some point. And then from there, just the other ventures that are a part of it. We want to make this a family type of environment that everybody benefits from it. And everybody has the opportunity to have some say in what we're doing. And with that, it's about education. So once you're in, we start educating you on blockchain. We incentivize education, doing modules, learning about the logistics of games, what goes on in games, how games are ran. So that way, when you come to the game, you're not just looking at it as a fan, you're looking at it as an owner. And that's what we wanted to do, be able to change the game when it comes down to that.
So that's really getting fans involved and making it more of a community, because that's kind of what we've been trying to do with the Elks Herd. Is we're trying to build a community, get more fans herded together, I guess,
Yes.
right? But
There you go.
everybody's got to be stronger together. And the Edmonton Elks have been running the community model for a very long time, but there's a difference between city-owned and community-owned. And
You're right. I get what you're saying.
yeah, you take a look at what the Green Bay Packers do, you have the opportunity, even if it seems like a bit of a gimmick, you have the opportunity to spend $200 and everybody else spends their $200 to get a piece of paper that says you're a Packers owner. And,
Yes.
so
Yes.
so like Garrick said, bringing that to the 21st century and, bringing that to a modernized version. So, yeah, I mean, that's incredible.
Well, you got to look at it, with Green Bay, you do get the certificate, right? And you do get the opportunity to come to the shareholders meetings.
Yeah.
That's about it, right? So and you can pass that down to your family. But what we wanted to do is be able to have more utility attached to what we're doing,
Right.
where the fans really get the opportunity to have tangible situations that they can really benefit from. And that's what goes on inside of those districts. You're able to experience the top-notch restaurants. You're able to get the merch. You're able to do all these different things. And then once we get a little further in the process, that's when we will launch a tradable token. That's attached to all of the teams that we have under management in that city. So now you get a chance to get into the financial portion of it. But by that time, you will be educated on everything that's going on in blockchain. And the ultimate goal is to raise the economic ceiling of the fans to where now they are considered accredited investors. But that's another story. But I'm tying everything and using sports and these as a connective tissue. But we're going to change the DNA of what goes on in professional sports.
And you know what? I haven't been involved in sports for a very long time. So
Right.
I came into this franchise from a very different point of view than other people that have grown up with football and gone to the stadiums. I was introduced in a very I don't want to call it a sterile, but I
Yeah.
felt
The
kind of like an
2021,
outsider, right?
it was the
It was
2021 season right
like
after
it was
Right. Okay. Okay.
fresh rebrand. Yeah, it
yes,
wasn't the greatest thing to walk into as a new fan.
Yeah.
definitely. But I think one of the things that allowed me to do is kind of take a look at the franchise itself from a very objective point of view, right? Because
Absolutely.
I did not have that love for the team that people just build for years and years, that they, become
Right.
hardcore die hard fans,
Yeah.
right? And I was able to look at it from a very objective point of view, and that's one of the things that I realized. There's such a disconnect from what you see in the field and the game itself, and what the
Absolutely.
fans feel and how they feel represented and how they feel like they belong in
And
the game
involved, and
and
also involved, right? Like
definitely.
Right. Right.
we sit down at row 6 in section X by the 20-yard line.
Right.
We can be involved with the game so that we can be loud, so that we can, try to make the mess up on the field, really, with how
Yeah.
loud we are. That's You're within earshot. Maybe the odd heckle here and there on Labor Day rematch, but either way, feeling more involved. And the Edmonton Elks, let's be real, the Edmonton Elks have not necessarily done a great job, especially during the rebrand years.
Mhm.
Victor had definitely tried to do some great things,
He
but
definitely tried very hard,
Yeah. I
bring a
get it.
lot of involvement and a lot of
reinventing the wheel. So,
yes.
kind of going into the next question here, what would be your vision for the Edmonton Elks in 2025 as a business? Like, let's say if what you're trying to accomplish is
Right.
successful, what would you change versus the current structure of football on and off the field? I guess off the field, football off the
Yeah.
field, really, as a business.
Well, that's where, the entire movement comes into play, with the athletes and guys who've been there, done that. And it all starts at the top, period, point blank. It's a culture shift, and I think it's a reintroduction of a culture that once was, but where a culture that's headed in another direction or headed in a new dimension. And it's about bridging that gap. That's really what it is. The individuals inside of the building, on the field, and the fans have to buy into that, and we have to reciprocate. What the fans are feeling. When it comes down to being diehard, you should be rewarded for that loyalty, right? You should feel like you are a part of this thing. Like when you go home, you should feel like that's your team. And it's the same, with upper management. It's the same with ownership. Everybody in the building has to feel like they want to run through a brick wall in order to get to what it is that we have, what we're looking to do, and that's to be Grey Cup champions. We don't show up to lose. I mean, and that's the offensive lineman mentality in me. It's like, shut up and put your pads on. Let's go. It's what it is. But you have to be strategic. You have to bring the right people in the building, and you have to be the right person for the job and really believe it. And a lot of people will be in positions, and you can tell. It's easy to tell if they really believe what they're saying, or if they are just going through the motions. And it may be a vanity play for them. A lot of owners, they just want to say, I own a team. No, when you bring in players that actually went through and understand the culture and understand the history, it's a different dynamic. And getting back to that is us filling the stadium again, because when I played, there was not games that there were no fans. So I don't know anything about that. So I know how to get back to the fans being there and putting them in a position to feel like they're really not only wanted, but are really heard and appreciated. And that's what this thing is about. It's about bringing everything that we've learned off the field in business, and also the teamwork aspect that we've grown up in, and everybody being held accountable. And it all starts with the head. I don't care who you are. And that's just what it is.
Yes. And what would you say that right now is the biggest bottleneck for the Edmonton Elks as a business right now? It's, as a businessman that
Yeah.
has inside knowledge in
Yeah,
and
yeah,
out
yeah,
of both sides, what
To
would
be to be honest with you, Catherine, from what I've seen and me doing my due diligence and my studies, um, where the team is now, we got to get away from the COVID excuse, because it was happening way before COVID, right? I think COVID exposed a lot
Mhm.
of inadequacies as far as inside of the organizations, and this is for all businesses. You got to be able to pivot, and when you're not able to pivot and really make sure that you're leading the way, things can go awry really quickly. And I think that's where, with ball players and individuals who've been in sports situations and scenarios, for me, it has to be quick because I can have a bad play, but in the next 20 some odd seconds, I'm in another play. So I have to have a short memory, but at the same time, I got to understand, okay, keep my feelings in checks, my emotions in check, and understand that this is a logical type of scenario. But from what I've seen, it was so much of it was COVID and we're losing money and those types of things. There's a lot of things that you can do to make sure that you're not losing money. So, and like I say, it starts with the management, it starts with the ownership, and it starts with everybody being held accountable. My thing is we don't do scapegoats. If I screwed up, I screwed up. Now, how do I learn from it, and how do we get back on track? Because I'll give anything 15 minutes, and after that, it's time to go to work. I'll okay, we'll vent 15 minutes, but after that, we still have a play to run,
Mhm.
and that's the mentality that has to be had in any type of business, in any type of environment. In a marriage, in raising kids, it doesn't matter if you apply those techniques and that. At the end of the day, you'll be okay because people will buy in because they're going to follow you and they want to see what the leader's talking about. Okay, what is the leader saying? Oh, it was COVID. No, 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 no. We got work to do, and definitely the Elks have a ton of work to do, but it's not insurmountable. It can be done. It's just you have to think, plan, and execute. You got to have a definitive plan in place, and a plan that everybody can get in front of and be a part of. But with me, it's enough room in the sandbox for everybody to play. That's young, old,
Mhm.
new. It doesn't matter if you're not born yet. By the time you get here, you'll have a spot in the sandbox with us.
Nice.
Oh, gave me chills.
So, okay, so speaking of which, right? Obviously,
Uh-huh.
the attendance has been on a little bit of a decline for multiple factors.
Right.
What do you think brings fans to a CFL game in 2024?
Oh man, you got to connect with them. It's isn't hard, man. It's in rocket science. I think as humans, man, we make things a little too hard. There's been a disconnect, right? And everybody knows it because, and this is one thing that I learned. Being from Arkansas, studied Sam Walton, Walmart, Sam's, all of that, right? Sam Walton said the customer can hire and fire whoever in the building they want by taking their money elsewhere. And that's the same for fans. The fans have the power, and you got to come into it understanding that as a team owner, as a player, all those different things. And I think you have to get to a point as far as from ownership and management. The fans are not commodities, just like the players aren't commodities. Because without either one of those, you don't have anything. Nobody's playing, nobody's paying. You know what I'm saying? So if you come into it and you respect and you appreciate the fans and they feel appreciated and they feel like they have a voice, the fans will come back because you have made a home for them. It has to be a safe space for them. And a lot of times you don't get that with these organizations. And it's unfortunate because I look at it, I was able to see it from the inside out and from the outside in. So I know where all the weak spots are. I know where all these different things can go wrong and can go right. But without the fans, you don't have anything. So it's about really reconnecting with the fans, re-engaging with the fans, and being intentional about it, and not just window dressing. It has to be genuine. Like
Mhm.
you see me, man. I'm on Twitter or X or whatever it is at this point, and you'll see me. That's the mentality that we have as players. We would be out in the community, and nothing will change as an owner. You have to be accessible, to a degree. You can't be accessible for everything and everybody because
No.
you have a business to run. But those are the things that have to happen. You have to have a fan advisory board, right? Where you get maybe 25 or 30 of the fans and they're invited into the building and they represent the masses. The same thing with the players. And now you get a chance to bring those opinions and those comments and those questions to the table And now you allow your people to vote on what they want to see done. And now we're able to bring it into what we're doing from an executive standpoint, and we're able to make those changes or say, hey, we got your request, but here's why we can't do this now. Not saying it'll never happen, but here's why. And it's communication and transparency. So you got to be intentional with the fans, man, and just really engage with them and make them feel appreciated and do it for the right reasons. Because like I said, it has to be a safe space. It has to be about a family dynamic, and this is what it is.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
And I always bring it up to, the fact that I'm a fairly new fan.
Yeah,
And
no,
I didn't grow up with, the team. And the
Mhm.
same thing with my children, right?
Right.
Because now they're being introduced to the team as well, now that we're doing this and we're so engaged with the team. And
Right.
I think what absolutely sold me on being a now lifelong fan
Right.
was the interaction that I saw with Wilder James Jr. with
Exactly.
Zelda
kids.
Jr.
That young man got it. He understood it.
Right?
Yeah.
That interaction, what he did for the community, and the same
Mhm.
thing goes for players like Aaron Grimes. And
Right. Yeah.
the
AG is a
member
good
in
guy.
the community, they're there, they're engaging with the fans, they're asking questions, they're
Yeah.
trying to make things better.
Right.
That right there is what sold me.
Yeah.
And my kid as well.
Yeah.
He continues to ask about
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
He wants
Yeah.
to know where he is, where
Yeah.
he's
Oh, he's
playing,
gonna follow his
and
career
he's
for
going to
sure,
follow
right?
his career because he
Right.
felt heard and he felt appreciated as a little fan. And
Exactly.
that's where it started, and I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we do have, so speaking of fans,
Okay.
we have quite a few questions in the herd chat today. Shout out
Let's-
to Dave Retz. I see you, John. John's got quite a few questions in here. Pug and Pigskin. Shout out Jason, Chris Agar. Hello.
Let's
Tonight
do it.
the herd chat is busting. What do we got here?
I know it.
Oh, scroll up just a little bit more. I think there was another one.
No.
Yeah, no, go down. Okay, yeah, there you go.
There you
That's the
go.
one. Yeah.
What do you think of the upper deck at the Elks Stadium being closed off?
If you're looking at it from a business schematic and optics, if you have the cameras and the cameras are panning and it's empty up there, you can have maybe, let's just say 18,000, 19,000, even 20,000. It looks empty, right? So optically, from a business schematic and television, if you don't have people there, you got to close it, right? But that's a band-aid, right? We got to get the people back in the stands. Like I said before, we didn't have that when I was here, so it's that sense of pride, it's a sense of urgency, but it's also a sense of family that the fans want to be here. They want to spend their money, and they want to be a part of it. So it could very easily change. That's not a problem. It's one of those things where it's more or less, to be able to sell what's going on with the league, you have to optically do it the right way when it comes down to the camera work. And those are some of the things that we talk about when it comes down to logistics of games and how things are structured, so that the way the fans understand when things happen, right? Because if you got people scattered all across the place and it looks dormant, it looks barren, that's not a good look. To really say, hey, we're the team of the future. So from an optics standpoint, that's understandable. But you got to be working toward filling that back up rather quickly and it not be permanent.
And you know what? I feel like that might be a challenge for the fans as well, right? Especially those that really don't want to see the upper stadium being closed off. And now they're
Yeah.
really going to be pushing
Yeah.
towards making sure that every game there's enough people coming in,
Yeah.
so they have to open
Yeah.
it up. So
Right.
Well, yeah, gives you a goal, right? I mean,
Yes.
it's a
Yeah.
gateway goal every game day at
Right.
home. Your goal is to get as many sections
Right.
open in the upper bowl, kind of like BC does, right? And they
Yeah.
celebrate it, big celebration.
Mhm.
Now you have to play on that, and now
Yeah.
it's a lot more work to fill it up than it is
Yeah.
to take them out.
Definitely.
By the way, Pug and Pigskin, yeah.
Yeah. He's got a friend here, Pug and Pigskin. Hey guys, hey Garrick. Love Garrick's ideas and plans. Keep rolling, Mr. Jones. Definitely. So, let me hide that.
Absolutely.
And then Dave Ratz, you guys rock. Thank you, Dave Ratz. So yeah, a good question right here.
Mhm.
Two good questions from John. One
All
is Garrick Jones. Did you get a chance to play with Joe Anoa'i, aka Roman Reigns, WWE?
right. Yeah, Joe's a good guy, man. Joe's a damn good guy, man. Cool people, man. Cool people. We got a chance to get to know each other. And and I got an opportunity to talk with him in depth before he really said, "Hey, I'm going to go wrestle." Because he was kind of at a crossroads, right? He didn't really know the next steps of what he was going to do, and I was just a ear for him, and I just listened to him, and I told him, I said, man, that's in your DNA. It's one of those things where if you decide that that's what you're going to go do it. Because everybody that's playing ball wants to make sure that or get the opportunity to show that they're elite. And he was a damn good player, but I was like, man, I would go do what the family did, and that's kind of the conversations that we had. But he was a really cool guy, man. I've been keeping up with him and keeping up with what's going on with him. But nah, I love everything that he has going on, man. But he's a damn good player. I love playing with him, man.
Oh, that's sweet. No,
Yeah.
and then well, yeah, and the legends, right? Like he didn't play here for too long, but everybody,
Yeah.
he's one of the most popular people that have ever played for
Right, exactly,
areas.
exactly.
No, that's really sweet. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
Bella, Bella here in the herd chat. What are your thoughts on the Edmonton Elks losing Demetrius Maxey?
I played with Maxie. Maxie's a damn good guy. Matter of fact, I kind of congratulated him, on him making his move, man. But we stay in contact. So, he's a great coach, man. And he's one of those guys that got it done on the field. So there's instant respect there from the players. And you got to really look at that when it comes down to your coaches. When I played, you had guys that didn't play the game, but they were very well respected because respect was given. And they were decorated because of what they've done on the field. So that's where the respect came from. But you had guys who played the game, and respect was there because we knew what it took to get here. We knew what it was to go through training camp, and you're sending guys home, and all these different things. And when the days are running together, I know you were mentally tough enough to get it done. And you know what the players are going through. So that's where the connection comes in when you have guys like Max. But man, he's a damn good guy, man, and we go back and forth though. So he's aware of a lot of what's going on, man. So a lot of guys are. A lot of guys are.
Oh no, I'm glad. I mean, there's always going to be people with ears to the ground, but also you're a really well connected gentleman. So,
Oh yeah, man.
Garrick,
That's just from playing ball, man.
Yeah,
Playing ball.
playing ball. I just wanted to bring up the fact that we do have some fans here listening, and it seems to really reflect, with what you're saying and really, making a point. We have Daryl Tick here, listen to your season ticket holders, like you say,
There you
right?
go.
Those
There you
are
go.
the people that are spending money year after
Absolutely.
year and want to be part of the team. That's
Absolutely.
right.
Daryl hit it right on the head. You have people who are fully invested in what's going on. And when they feel like they're not heard, that's where the disconnect comes from. So you have to really make it a point. Like I said, you got to be intentional about everything that you do, and it's not just window dressing because people can see straight through that.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things that I don't do. I'm genuine. I'm one of those guys, man. I understand, like both sides of the fence, and you try to find a midpoint. You can't make everybody happy all of the time. If you were, you'd be an ice cream salesman, right? Let's get it, and everybody's happy. But you have to understand that and make them understand that we are working to get to a place where you're going to feel like you're more viable and you're more appreciated. But
Mhm.
when you have your people that everybody's dollars matter, period, point blank. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're spending some type of money, you're the engine, and then you got the players out there that are engines as well. It's unfortunate that, like I say, the two most important groups to an organization is, especially a sports organization, are the fans and the players. If you don't have either one of those, you don't have anything. So
Well, exactly. Oh,
Yes.
and I guess we'll wrap up the herd chat section of this with we'll go with that comment from Daniel here.
Yeah, that was a good comment.
As a 50-plus year fan, I have felt a disconnect since the last cup when Moss was fired to me, well, double E, right? Was fired to me. It has gone into a free fall. One
Yeah.
example, for years there was a nucleus that was identifiable for me. And Daniel, I want to say this could possibly be Daniel by the Lake. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight, Daniel. Yes, when you had Jason Moss as head coach, he was passionate. Of course, it sucks that we were, a stepping stone to where he is now. Well, no, that's a great thing that's what, we were. But at the same time, it would have been nice if we could have gave him some more support and developed him a little bit better. Same time, that's
Right.
where he was at in his coaching career.
Right.
So, the hindsight 2020 way she goes. But as soon as you lose, like a Dwayne Mandrusiak, I know you can resonate a little bit with this one.
Mm-hmm.
It's the 75th coming up. It is a massive season. You need wins.
Right.
Dwayne Mandrusiak still isn't back for his 50th year.
Right.
Now, Dwayne has a good job.
Yeah.
Heard Dwayne's good stuff. Love
Yeah.
Dwayne. However, is he going to be happier coming back to the Elks for some sort of role when his equipment job right now is taken by somebody that's capably doing it well? Dan is great over at the Edmonton Elks as well, right? So what do you do in that scenario, really? But what we're getting to here is Bone is missing from Commonwealth Stadium.
Absolutely.
Like what was Bone to you coming up as a player in Edmonton?
It's brotherhood, man. It's family. It's that safe space. It's us against everybody, right? And when you start taking those pieces away, you chip away at the foundation, and that's what we got to get back to. That's what we got to fight for. When I was on the field with my brothers, I'd fight for my brothers. Period, point blank. It didn't matter what it was, right? So we knew what our job was. We understood the assignment. Along the lines of, and along the way, people started forgetting it. They didn't understand their assignment. And in that, you lost a lot of that. But that's definitely what has to come back to the table. And there's opportunities for those things in the right circumstances and situations. And when people start to see that, the fans start to see those pieces start to come back and fit in roles that will leave a legacy. They know that it's a clear and definitive plan for not only the next season, but for the duration of getting Edmonton back to where it needs to be. And that's what it's about. It's about bringing, a lot of the players that were there and that have seen success and championships and being able to mentor the younger guys, and be in the building and be around and the people can see them again. And that's how you bridge that gap between the old guard and the new regime. And but when it comes down to the situation like with Dwayne, man, that's hard, right? That's a hard one. That hurt me. And I wasn't even there. I was like, what are we doing? And but we got it's some clear definitive plans for those types of things. And that's if Edmonton decides to go private and me and my group have an opportunity to be in that conversation. We have a clear and definitive plan for the present and the future that'll change the game and everybody in the city can be proud, of what we're doing in the direction that we're headed.
Oh,
Well, I'm pretty sure you have a whole lot of support from a whole lot of fans. We have Daniel right here. Love what you're doing. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it, man. No, you guys have the power. You guys can say, hey, look, we want this group to get a fair shake, because that's all we want is a fair shake. Because once we get the opportunity, and as a player, all you want is the opportunity to get on the field and be able to show what you can do. And it's the same thing with the opportunity for ownership. All we want is a fair shake to be able to go in and present, our case. And from there, hey, we'll see how it goes. Because like I say, I don't show up to lose. Period.
Love it. Well, and
Yeah.
we're definitely going to try to have maybe Calvin McCarty on the show here in a month or so.
Mhm.
We'll
Yeah,
Calvin
yeah,
on, try to talk about this a little bit more. But it's great. John here, so he supports you buying the team.
What can we do to help?
Yeah,
You know,
people are trying. People are coming out the woodworks to
we
get this going.
right.
funny.
So
A couple of weeks ago or whenever, a past episode, we were talking about this, the ownership and the
right.
possibilities. And one of the topics was, alumni or, something owned group, right? And
Mhm.
and we were like, maybe we just do kind of, that idea of give people a little bit of ownership, right? Like, and
Yeah, that
here's I'll give you $20 if I can own 0.0001% of
Yeah,
the
yeah. I get it.
team.
I get it.
So I'm pretty sure tons of people would be
Oh yeah,
up.
and to go back to what I said about what we're doing with fan centric, it'll be some opportunities for those types of things, and that's a process. It's a phased approach. It has to be some education behind it. Once you bring things to the forefront and expose people to it, you got to educate them on it. So everybody knows how things work, especially in the DeFi space. It's so many different things that we can do that are exciting, that can grow. The Elks brand. Be it metaverse, digital twin situations where now we have a metaverse version of stadiums and so on and so forth. We got all that. We got all that planned. So, but when it comes down to the fans, you know, it's time for your voices to be heard. The organization has a phone number. They got an email address. You guys know where they are. So I'm just throwing ideas out there. But like I said, it's the same thing with Sam. The fans and the customers can hire and fire and also say who they want in the building. So hey, govern yourselves accordingly. I'm here.
awesome.
Love it.
Well, no, this is fantastic. We really hope that you guys get some traction. Obviously, we're thankful that you came on today and talked about
Oh,
this.
yeah, no
Um,
worries.
I believe that there's going to be some pretty good success here. Like you said, right? It's all about just getting that chance and getting that opportunity. So
Hmm.
getting a fair
Hmm.
shake, I think everybody should get a fair shake at any opportunity that they
There
want.
you go. That's all we want. I know that's all I want. Because the heavy lifting has been done. And like I said, we've had some conversations with the CFL already. They know we're here, and they know what we're bringing to the table. So if we're looking to go to the next level, in which I want to see the CFL be the leader when it comes down to these leagues, as far as other people, mimicking and other organizations mimicking what the CFL is about. They know we're here. We've had some conversations and we've talked and there's some traction, but there again, like I say, we've built it up to the point to where now it's let's come on, fans, let's do it. Let's
Yeah,
make it happen. Let's make
that's
it happen.
Well, I'm super excited myself, just to speak for myself, just to see what's gonna happen.
Super, the championship weekend this weekend, Garrick. We got to
Yes.
know before
Oh
you jet
yes.
here. Who's your picks? Who you going for? Who you cheering for this weekend?
Man, I'll say Detroit because of the head coach, right?
Yeah,
They believe. They believe, right? It's one of those things. Um, I really got Detroit to win it all, to be honest with you. And now when it comes to KC and the Ravens, it's I say the Ravens, right? Because Lamar's playing ball, man. He's playing ball. And when you got a guy like that, you always got a chance. I know Patrick and those guys, they're a perennial, champs and whatnot. But I think Lamar's in a position to where his teammates are going to play really hard for him, and you're almost going to have to carry him out on his shield. So that's kind of the scenario, and I think that's those scrappy types. But I definitely see Detroit doing some monumental things just because of the level of belief. And these teams, man, they'll hit you in the mouth and wait on to see what your response is going to be. And that's the thing about ball, man. It's I'm going to impose my will. So it really is about who's going to show up because everybody looks good on paper, but I need to see what you're made of. So I'm gonna hit you in your mouth and I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna wait, and then we're gonna see what this thing will be. But to be honest with you, man, I have to look at the first quarter. Once I look at the first quarter, I can tell you what it looks like. But I would say Detroit and Baltimore.
Nice. Okay. Wow. I really appreciate that you're not like one of those. Yeah, I used to play for the team, so that's my favorite team now.
Oh yeah. No. It's all good. No, KC was good to me, man. I hate that I didn't stick longer, but it was the politics in it. I was supposed to be the guy behind Willie Rofe, because Willie's from Arkansas. He's about 45 minutes away from me, so we had some really good conversations. And he was like, "Man, you're gonna be the guy." And then the politics came in, and I had to make a move, man. I did too much work, so I wasn't lasting in the waiver wire, man. So I was like, you cut me, I won't be back. So it's one of those things, man.
Damn.
Well, we could keep talking forever,
we
but we
really
definitely need to.
We still have a whole like half a show to go through here.
Absolutely.
Garrick, man, thank you so much for joining us on The More You Didn't Know here. Fantastic hearing your ideas, and we'd love to talk to you again here.
Yeah, let's do it again, man. And like I said, we'll take a deeper dive. I probably am more than likely have you both on a private Zoom, so I can really show you how deep the rabbit hole is. But it's only so much I can give right now. But we have a plan. We got a clear and definitive plan to get this thing on track. So we just want the opportunity to show it, and from there really be able to have those actionable items and implement it and go from there.
Love it. Definitely open for some more convo on this for sure. So then that means we will see you again soon. So
oh yeah, I'm around, man. I'm not hard to find. I promise you that.
We're just as equally passionate and truly believe in what you're talking about and what you're about, and it resonates with pretty much everything that we tried to bring forth here with our show, and
a lot of fans in Edmonton. I mean, it's a passion, right? So
our motto is for fans from fans.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. Yeah, no, anything I can do, to help add value to what you guys are doing, I'm all for it. Like I say, I understand, what you guys are doing and how you're doing it, and the passion and the love behind it, and that's what needs to be reciprocated from the organization. Period. Point blank.
Appreciate it so much, Garrick. Man, this was great. We will definitely have you back on the Elks Call sometime soon, and we hope you have yourself an awesome night. Thank you so much once again for joining. Hey, if do you got any handles or anywhere where anybody can follow you? Or
man, it's easier just to search my name, and I'll pop up. It's always something going on or whatever the deal is, but X, I got IG. Commissioner GJ, they can look me up, but this Garrick Jones, NFL, CFL, and everything will pop up. So that's probably your best bet and the easiest way to find what's going on.
Perfect. Well, yeah, everybody go give them a follow, and once again, thanks again, and we'll chat you soon, Garrick.
All right, y'all be good, man. Be safe. We'll talk soon.
You as well, bro. Cheers.
All right, later.
So that was Garrick Jones, former NFL, CFL, and Double E offensive tackle, Double E legend, great guy. We could have talked forever. Once again, these conversations are great.
So excited.
By the way, John Kirby in the herd chat, Oilers win 3-0. Is that actually? I guess that would be win.
That is 15 in a row.
It is 15 in a row. Congratulations to the Edmonton Oilers for continuing history. Alrighty, so Garrick was an awesome guest. We'll definitely be talking to him again soon. We're going to have him back on the show at some point here. So yeah, thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Now,
we still have like half a show to go.
Still have half a show. This is a massive one.
Stick around, guys.
Stick around with us. This is going to be good because we got tons for you guys. Shotgun Sports Network has a special announcement. Shotgun Sports Network is officially starting a content creator co-op. So what the content creator co-op is we're gonna be collaborating with many great CFL content creators, such as our first one, which is Ray and Benny Talk Sports. Ray and Benny, these guys are awesome, talking Winnipeg sports. you'll be able to actually find all of their podcast information, all their links to their media, all under a tab on shotgunsportsnetwork.ca called the Creator Co-op. And then our second announcement is Coach Phil has also joined the Creator Co-op. So of Coach Phil Reacts, Coach Phil has been bringing some sweet CFL content to us here. And he's a great guy. So we're so excited to also have him in that tab. Go check it out. And we're going to be celebrating as many CFL content creators that we can, because really the CFL is a lot better when everybody works together.
And there's so much content that is
There is.
lacking.
Well,
There's-
and
yeah.
nobody
more.
is really doing the community thing. I
Right.
mean, we have media companies that are doing their own thing, like, you know, Three Down Nation and whoever else, right? But I feel like we sometimes miss, just like Garrick Jones was just talking about, sometimes we miss out on that community aspect. So,
Who doesn't want more CFL content?
Who doesn't want more CFL
so
content?
now everything will be in one spot for you to find.
And really, like, let's say with Coach Phil, the CFL has never had reaction videos.
No.
The CFL didn't have reaction videos, so he came in, he actually brought it to the CFL. So big shout out to him once again. shotgunsportsnetwork.ca. Head on over, go check them out. And also check out Shotgun Sports.
Well, he's not there yet. Just give me like a couple of days to put him in there.
Sorry, yes. Well, go check out the tab. We're working on it. It's a work in progress. But that being
check
said,
on it on Monday.
But we do have some other podcasts such as the Winnipeg Hanger and Off the Reins. We also have some articles, even galleries of last month's the style experience.
Yes.
Shred the North. So
Definitely.
At Commonwealth Stadium, it's fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, on to our next segment, which is the More Than Oil Edmonton Sports Update, brought to you by Len Nunez. The Edmonton Oilers are on a 15-game winning streak. They kept the streak alive tonight against the Chicago Blackhawks. Congratulations, go Oil. The Oil Kings play in Red Deer Friday night before returning to Rogers Place on Sunday to host the Brandon Wheat Kings. On Thursday, the Clandestine Wrestling Society tag team with Love Pro Wrestling to put on an always memorable show. On Friday, the spotlight shines on LPW 22 with limited tickets available at the Rec Room, which is hosting both events. The Edmonton Stingers have released their home schedule. They return to the hangar on June 2nd against the Saskatchewan Rattlers. Tip-off is at 4 p.m. Mountain. For more on what's happening in Edmonton's sports world, check out Len's articles on shotgunsportsnetwork.ca and join his group on Facebook, Edmonton Sports Fans, to get in on the Edmonton sports community. We are the Elkserd. You're up to date. Speaking of updates, guys, we have better and more deals for you. Royal Retros! It's 10% off if you use code Shotgun Sports. No spaces. 10% off over at Royal Retros. It's the 75th season. What better than a throwback Edmonton Elks? It doesn't say it on the website. I believe it says green and gold. But it is definitely the colorways of our favorite Edmonton team. So head on over. Royal Retros, treat yourself 10%. If you want to treat yourself more, lather.com. But this time it's bigger. Guys, 2024, 20% off over at Lather. I do not know what they're doing, but I'm appreciative because I got to put it in order soon.
That's soap. In case
at lather.com, it is some fine soaps over there. Canadian handcrafted soaps. Shotgun 20 is the code for that. So it's Shotgun 20, Shotgun 20, no spaces. And then a friendly reminder, thingsengraved.ca is our official merchandise supplier. So if you want some sweet cups, some tumblers. I know that tumblers are good for work and office environments because I have an office job now. Once again, big shout out to the Herd Chat. You guys are killing it tonight. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, no matter where you're watching from. Um, yeah, so you have some transactions, which, by the way, are transactions. They're brought to you by Off the Reins podcast. Giddy up for the 2024 UFL season with Ryan Messer as he gives you the latest news and updates about all things Birmingham, including the championship Stallions.
He'll have something to say about some of this, well, one of these transactions here that I'm going to
Giddy
go.
up.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. We have a very long list. It's been 2 weeks and the Edmonton Elks have been busy. A little too, but yeah, see, I wish I had another one of those. I mean, I'm going to try to make it as brief as possible. There's a long list. I do want to go through some of these because they are important. If you have anything to say, just let me know. Just comment on the chat. We're here to read that.
Go Stamps from this. Hello, Richard in the chat. That's a hearty Go Stamps you're slanging around here on the Elks call.
That was the wrong giddy up. The wrong.
Oh, it could go yeah, Stallions. Yeah, we're talking Stallions. Nice. Well, hey,
that's so funny.
That's an us problem. That's on us. That's on us.
That was a you problem.
Hey, we love you too, Richard. Shout out to Richard in that herd chat.
Oh, that's so funny.
All
right. So back in January 11th, American defensive back Cale Jackson Jr. and defensive back oh, wow. I knew I was gonna mess up with the names. Chauncey Moore got signed. January 12th, we had American defensive back Devondre Bynum signed and wide receiver Kyron Moore extended. So Moore led the CFL in yards after the last season. He got 490. And he led the Elks in receptions with 69 of them. So what do you think of that extension? Nice.
That extension. So Kyron Moore, that was it needed to happen. I will tell you right now, as somebody that plays a media role, does investigative work, I did not think that Kyron Moore was returning. The signs were not looking so good. It's fantastic that he's back. He's one of the most he's playing within his prime right now. We have him through 2 of his.
Was it 2? Did he get extended?
No, he got extended. But what I'm saying is, we got him within 2 years in his prime.
Right.
Which that's great.
I mean, the stats kind of speak for themselves, but he was definitely an asset.
Well, and that yard after catch, right? Yes. His yard after catch, as it said right there. But yeah, let's keep going.
Yeah. January 15th, we had American wide receiver Charles Hayden III, who was signed, and defensive back Luke Chase Purefoy was extended. So, I mean, that's one that you wanted to see coming back for sure.
Yeah.
Purefoy, you definitely wanted him to be extended. So you must be happy about that one.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That's it. And then, of course, that same day, we had American defensive lineman Jake Seresna that was traded together with the rights to American running back Kalan Laborn. And they were traded for Curly Gittens Jr. and a 7th-round pick in the 2024 CFL draft from the Argos.
Yeah, so Purefoy, he's a utility knife. Needed to have him back. That was a must grab. I'm really, really happy about it. Obviously, seeing what happened not too long after Jake Seresna, losing Jake Seresna, that it hurts. But getting Curly Gittens Jr., there's a big reason for this, and I believe we talked about it. Did we talk about it?
No, we didn't because it hadn't happened yet.
Oh, so the MBT thing.
Yeah. We talked about the MBT thing, but then this happened afterwards.
So the reason for that is because he was in 2022, he was his best wide receiver.
Yes,
I believe, or I don't know if he was the best, but he was definitely at least like a top 2, right?
There's definitely a connection. There's definitely an MBT to Gittens Jr. connection there, right? And I think that was done for a purpose. And although it's unfortunate to see Jake Seresna, and I don't necessarily agree with that, just because, I mean, he is an all-star.
Yeah.
He is an Edmontonian. Well, he might have not been born here, but he was truly green and gold to the core kind of player, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those situations that is just sad to see, but at the same time is kind of understandable. You know?
Yeah.
But
No, it's yeah, like Chris said, right? MBT and Curly Gittens Jr. They put up like it's you want that instant chemistry. It's just like when Trevor Harris came over, and so did Greg Ellingson. When Greg Ellingson comes over, you have that quarterback wide receiver pairing that usually moves around together, right? Like you see Devontae Adams right now in the NFL, former favorite target of Aaron Rodgers. You know, they want to be reunited. You just there's a chemistry. Yeah, 1,100 yards a year before they're great. Yeah. So
no,
this is automatic. It's a plug and play, is what we call it, right? That's plug and play stuff. For the rest.
yeah. January 16th, we had American defensive back Donovan Olumba that was extended. On the 17th, we had American defensive back Jalen Green and defensive back Leon O'Neal Jr. signed. On the 18th, we had yet another American defensive lineman, Trevor Mason, and quarterback Steven Montes signed. So Steven Montes, he is a 27-year-old Colorado all-time leader in passing yards, passing touchdowns, and total offense. So it's he's definitely one to watch. It's just it makes me wonder what's going to happen, because not only, and I'll talk about another quarterback that we signed as well. Like now we we have too many quarterbacks.
Yeah, but we tend to have that problem every training camp, and then like I think we got up to like it gets up to a crazy number. I want to say it was 6 even heading into training camp last year.
Yeah,
that's it is what it is. But Keyshawn Camp, let's talk about this gentleman.
19th, Keyshawn Camp. He played the last 2 seasons in the USFL, most notably in the Birmingham Stallions, who won back-to-back championships.
Giddy up, Keyshawn Camp. So I like this guy. Why do I like this guy? Because I know a thing or two about him, because we've been following those Stallions, USFL. That's the kind of player you want. That's you want somebody with a little bit of a pedigree, a little bit of experience on winning teams outside of even the CFL. That's fine. Even outside of, I mean, you're not going to get them from many NFL teams.
No.
So
it seems like, well, even on the 22nd, we signed American defensive lineman Robert Kimdichie. I'm gonna say that's the way to say it.
I think you did it.
And he's 29-year-old that was a 5-star recruit out of high school, and most recently spent time in the USFL as well. So, I mean, we're seeing, I don't know, personally, I'm seeing a trend here with some USFL, players, ex-players, and also a lot of defensive linemen, defensive backs. I mean, we gotta
we'll take what we can get.
Yeah.
The next one though, January 23rd, losing Ed Gainey.
Yeah, which in many ways I also think that was kind of expected. He was very hot and cold throughout the entire season, and of course he had a collarbone injury in week 2.
And he had a hard time kind of finding his footing after that, right? So, and Ed Gainey, great guy, great vet, fan favorite. Spoke honestly, as I believe it was Morley or Dave said from 630 Ched. Spoke fairly, spoke honestly, candidly, but honestly, right? It's it sucks to lose veterans, but same time, we are also pretty good at that position. So we don't necessarily need an Ed Gainey there right now. It'd be more of a luxury, if anything.
Well, it was another one of those that kind of, it made sense.
Yeah.
It still sucks to see, but it kind of makes
sense.
And
for what contract could be, just to have more of a locker room voice, I think that's where I'm going with luxury as opposed to like a Lamborghini type player. I mean, it's I think like you're looking at some of those players in that position, like Kai Gray, like Marcus, I want to say Marcus Lewis. I want to say that he's at that position as well, but I mean, we have great guys coming up through the system.
Yes, we do. On January 24th, we had American offensive lineman Antonio Garcia signed, and defensive back Brennan White, and as well as national offensive lineman Thomas Jack Cordelia. He was extended. So
nice to have him back. Continuity. Shout out to Nathan Byer in the herd chat. Got to take what you can get. Such a classic scout line. Nice show, folks. Thank you, Nathan.
That's funny.
And John, we did see your questions. We will get into that. We have a fan forum coming up, man.
Yes.
The fan forum is gonna go down right after we make it through the scroll.
We're almost there. The last one that we had was on January 25th, which was today, I guess. American defensive lineman Eric Black that cut off. He signed, and quarterback Todd Centeo, as well as running back Brian Herron and defensive lineman Chauncey I
think it's like maniac.
I don't want to say maniac. Maniac. Yes, and I mean with Centeo, which is the quarterback, he was named the Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Year in 2022 while playing at James Madison University. Dave Campbell posted about this on X. He passed for 2,697 yards and threw for 25 touchdowns. He also tied a school record by throwing 6 touchdown passes in a game against Middle Tennessee. So that's gonna be interesting training camp. That's gonna be interesting to see.
It's a quarterback shootout.
Yes.
You know that McLeod Bethel Thompson is starting.
Of course. Trey
you
Ford,
know
you
Trey
can't
Ford's
get
at
rid
backup.
And it's sad because we didn't get to see enough of Daggy.
I think Dagy's a stud. I like Daggy. Yeah. I hope that he's successful somewhere. Like, I mean, obviously he's coming back to the Elks, but
now we have 2 other quarterbacks that apparently are big studs as well. So that's going to be interesting.
Right? Well, in which case we'll see if Daggy's in the mix.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because we don't know. It's way too early.
Well, and they keep making changes every single day. Yeah. I mean, we still have 6 pending free agents. Remaining. I mean, included in there, you have AC Leonard. We have Arsenault as well. So
I'm gonna see if I can bring up the audio clip because we're talking about it. But yeah, I mean, AC Leonard, utility knife player,
very much so.
I'm going to guess that he's going to ask a fair amount of money, but because he did have a good season last year, will we be able to afford it? I don't know. We spent a lot on the offense this year. Manny Arsenault, would be nice to get Manny back, but once again, it's another one of those Ed Gainey scenarios. Look at how stacked we are on wide receiver now.
Yes.
You know, you're looking at Manny Arsenault more than likely taking a slot back position, being your shorter.
You're coaching, you know. Not, I don't want to say he would be.
No,
coach,
but veteran voice.
His veteran voice, very much so too. He's been around, so. And what do we think of all the staff changes? I mean, with Demetrius Maxey, D-line coach for the Argos now. And of course, we have our running back coach, Jordan Lennon. He became a defensive assistant with the Riders. So,
well, and you're also going to have some coaches off the books as well from last year. So there's going to be, I think Chris Jones already brought in some guys. Now that you're going to have to hire some more. It's the ebb and flow of football, unfortunately. But
so now
losing Demetrius Maxey, that's part of that losing a little bit of bone, you know?
Yeah.
Brotherhood of Nasty Eskimos. In this case now, we got to create, this organization needs to create Brotherhood of Nasty Elks.
So now let me ask you a question, because really I've only paid I haven't paid much attention to, you know, the draft or anything, free agents. This is probably the first year that I've actually, you know, done my research and done my homework and looked into it. In the past years, do you see this much of a revolving door when it comes to the players?
I would say that the revolving door for coaches
or players too.
For players, I would say as far as like players and coaches, these last 3 years have been, well, last 2 years, I guess. Last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Last 3 seasons have been nutty.
Yeah.
Same deal, 2019, that's kind of when it all started. So since 2019, correctly stated earlier in the herd chat, things have been going downhill since then. But as far as revolving door, 2022 was just wild. 2022 was wild. This year, seeing coaches go, that's a little bit scarier because players always come and go. Coaches like Jordan Lennon, he went for a better opportunity. I know that. Demetrius Maxey, more than likely a better opportunity. Well, then that means you're doing good at your job somehow, some way.
Yeah.
Right. So that doesn't mean that you're leaving the organization, which is going to take you back.
I mean, but at the
And
same time, it's kind of a bad look, right? It makes you question. It
that's
makes
exact.
you.
That's
And I
Totally.
mean, Bella here, Esther, Chris Jones has a revolving door, and it may not even be that, but it certainly looks that way,
Yeah.
right? And it doesn't bring any confidence in the team, right? Is
No, that's very true. It's,
Richard here? Do you think Jarius Jackson is the dude?
Jarius Jackson, I think he is the dude. The reason for that though is because he's a former quarterback.
Yes.
He's played the game. He has the mentality. Would I have liked to see more J Jack with Trey Ford?
Mhm.
Sure, but J Jack also has experience with McLeod Bethel Thompson.
Oh.
So that's why MBT is so plug and play for so many
Right.
reasons, and I think that kind of gets missed. So it'll be interesting to see what J-Jack does without mobile Trey Ford this year.
Yes.
Because even when J-Jack was, I want to say on BC, he was still dealing with quarterbacks that were more mobile than what he's dealing with now.
Mm-hmm.
McLeod Bethel Thompson, he's more of a pocket passer, does not run around, and the O line always knows where he is,
yes.
right? So there's no scramble to
Yeah.
all of a sudden do a shift or a wall or a push this way or whatever. Don't really have to worry about that. Right now, Garrick Jones, if he's listening, he's like, man, like you do not know your football terms at all when it comes to that offensive line.
You're shuffling your.
It's so good, so good. Okay, guys. So that is that our transactions.
Yeah, that is it.
Okay, let me
That is
see if I
it.
can pull up that audio file real quick here before. Please tell me that it shows up real quick. Oh, it's not.
No, let's just move on.
Manny Show. Okay.
Oh, was that?
It's the Manny Show one.
Mm.
Yep, we're gonna bring it up. It's right here. So him and Daggy were hanging out today. Just absolutely wild. I never thought that he would really run into those guys would run into each other. I just
Where
need
is he right now, Manny?
I want to say he's down south.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, you know what? I think he might have killed the video. It's because I made a meme of it.
See,
it's a me problem.
Why do you go around making memes out of people?
All right, heading into our final segment of the night, we are going to open up the fan forum.
Mhm.
Today's fan forum is brought to you by the Winnipeg Terminal Podcast. Prepare for takeoff as Mike and Joe give you the latest on the Jets and the Blue Bombers. Wheels up. We are going to open up this fan forum where we talk about hot topics surrounding the Elks, the CFL, and the sports world as a whole. Be sure to blow up the herd chat so we can get your comments onto the show. Okay, question number 1. John has been talking about this in the herd chat. He's actually brought it up a couple of times. John, we have not talked about it. Why? Because we had it in the herd, or we had it in the fan forum already. Super stoked about it. You guys know we posted about it. If you're on X at the Elks Herd, you will know that we picked up a really slick green and gold Oilers hat.
Yeah.
So the Edmonton Oilers and New Era have recently released a city collection of baseball caps, and we posted about it, and we found a great amount of support about this piece of cross-promotion merchandise. So that begs the question, should the CFL and the Elks do more cross-promotion with other regional sports teams? A couple of examples, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers did a crossover, I believe, with the Winnipeg Ice. I want to say that was the matchup there. As well, the Oil Kings have done the jersey. There's an Oil Kings jersey that was designed like an Edmonton Elks, Eskimos, Edmonton Elks jersey. And then I have a t-shirt at home.
The one that I found?
The one that you found, which is an Oil Kings and Saskatchewan Roughriders crossover shirt. So what do you guys think? Herd chat, you guys get on in there. Catherine, what do you think about the whole cross promotional piece?
Yeah, I think they should. Why not? I think it's pretty cool. I mean, one of the pieces that I know that you really love and you wear it often in the winter is your hockey jersey, your double E hockey jersey,
Oh, yeah.
right? So now imagine if you could have something that is more like pointed towards the Oilers or the Oil Kings and something
Yeah.
very specific, but kind of brings the sports together. That'd be really cool.
So to also clarify on this, sorry everybody. So the City Collection are 3 hats they have an Edmonton Oilers logo, but one hat is Edmonton Riverhawks colors,
Mhm.
one is Edmonton Stingers, and one is it's green and yellow. I would say it is a green and yellow of Golden Bears colors, not necessarily double E, but it's
Well,
still a really nice hat.
let me tell you, if it's the Golden Bears colors, then there's a reason why they didn't go for the Nate Ooks colors. But
Listen, go Ooks, okay? You know what? I could probably pass off that Riverhawks one. Let's go Ooks.
Oh,
Let me take a look at our team colors. So John, the reason why there's no Oil Kings crossover on this is because obviously Kate's group, Oilers Entertainment Group,
Mhm.
and at the end Kate's, right? But Oilers Entertainment Group owns the
Right.
Oil Kings and the Oilers. There's not very often as well. I think the best crossover that you get between the Oilers and the Oil Kings
Mhm.
is when the Oil Kings are in the playoffs and the Oilers are not, and you get the
Right.
Oil Kings ice.
Yeah.
I want to say that's as close to like a cool crossover that you're going to get. There will never be any sort of crossover merch between the two because the money still goes to
Yeah.
the same spot,
Yeah.
and you're basically wasting money on merchandise at that point.
No.
It's not like you're going to make any extra sales on either side.
Yeah.
So that's the business reason for it, but yeah, it's yeah, and you're right. The Oil Kings for the WHL, there's less items. The Sports Vault,
Mhm.
huge company that makes probably everything. TSV, the Elks mug.
Yes.
There's also a Green Bay. There's also Oilers. There's also the Sports Vault. They do
Yeah.
all the major leagues.
Yeah.
Obviously, you won't see some of those items for the WHL, but
Yeah.
the big thing here, CFL cross promotion, and I think this is where I'm gonna go on a little rant right now, because cross promotion to me, when I played video games growing up, there was nothing like having like a character from another video game in that video game, and
You
you're like,
show
oh
up.
my god, this is like the coolest, weirdest thing. And like you said, I loved that Section X hockey jersey. So many reasons, right? It's kind of symbolic,
Mhm.
but the fact that I have a Reebok hockey jersey, just like one of my other hockey jerseys here,
Mhm.
and it's Reebok, it's branded, it's got it on the sleeve. It looks exactly the same, except for the fact that it's Edmonton Eskimos or Edmonton Elks.
Mhm.
Um, that's just a strange piece, or like I have the two of the same Lettermans, and
Yeah.
that's almost
Yeah.
but it's not on the same Letterman.
Yeah.
So
No,
anytime you get a good crossover, a good collaboration, like what
it'd be cool.
T-Pain and Lil Wayne back in the day, best like crossover collaboration ever. So anybody kind of, I don't know, I don't see where there's many negatives in the Edmonton Elks
I don't see it
collaborating
either.
more.
I think it would be pretty cool, and I mean, it's just more merchandise. People are already spending money on merchandise. Why not making something different? Like even I was thinking about that, and just those little footballs. The double E footballs. If you made a football, the colors of the Oilers. The blue and orange, but with the double E.
Well, and I mean,
I'd buy that.
at that point, right? I mean, obviously, I can't speak for the Oilers, no idea. But
Yeah.
what I would say is, there's got to be in that scenario, you're talking about two companies, two
Yeah.
very big companies coming together. Whereas, you take a look at the City Collection.
Yeah.
It's the Oilers supporting the smaller guys,
Right.
which because they're the biggest team, they're valued
Yeah.
at whatever billion, right? So, it's one of those weird scenarios.
Yeah.
It's a really weird one.
It'd be cool.
Yeah, it would be.
I think they should do it.
Yeah, I think
think people
there
would
has
bu-
to be more.
People would buy.
And I appreciate that John in the herd chat here. He'd love it if a local company like 780 made that stuff. He did ask them, but
Yeah.
they won't make any sort of extra merchandise, right? Once again, we are the Elks herd shirts coming soon. We also still have a plan in the works for a couple of sweet pieces as well. Uh, to be honest, we've been focusing on the podcast a little bit and completing our season 2 upgrades. So,
Mhm.
still a couple more upgrades to go. A little bit of a little technical snag. That's why we're 5 minutes behind today. But, Catherine, you have our last fan forum question.
Yeah. Well, a recent event surrounding the AJHL and BCHL has seen the Sherwood Park Crusaders and 4 other teams have their games canceled. That was due to said teams leaving the AJ for the BCHL. That's a lot of acronyms for the 2024 and 2025 season. So, while it's understandable that the AJHL is upset that the teams did inform both leagues of their intent well before the end of the season, that's when the teams will move. So, is
Yeah.
it fair for the AJHL to prevent these teams from playing out their season? So, just to kind of summarize that, they were told that it was going to happen, but it's still mid-season, and then they were just canceled. All the
So
remaining of the games were
yeah,
canceled.
so like I mean, the AJHL had they had an idea that it was coming. There was nothing
Mhm.
official, right?
Yeah.
But BCHL went ahead and made an official drop on it. They went ahead
Yeah.
and said, "Yeah, we're doing this." BCHL officially announcing that starting next season, these 5 teams from the AJ, they're going to be playing in the BCHL. Which for travel logistics, tell me how that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
I'm
maybe
not a big fan of the move, but the other problem is that the AJHL also hasn't been treating their teams properly, or their teams obviously have a reason to leave.
right. So maybe we can just back up a little bit, and maybe you can explain a little bit as to why that happened.
So it said that there's some money involved, right?
Mhm.
I believe that I want to say I'd have to look into the specifics a little bit more.
Mhm.
But basically it's all the same fundamentals. At the end of the day, when people are hungry, they seek change. So we're talking about some of the most successful teams in the AJHL.
Mhm.
So they went over to make more money. And I mean, the Crusaders, can't speak for them. I know that they have a new arena coming.
Mhm.
No matter what, that arena is going to come. But with the BCHL, they're not governed by Hockey Canada. They're not governed by Canadian Junior Hockey League.
Right.
It's
Are
a
they? It's private.
it's yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah, they're still a provincial program, but they're not considered under the same regulations as
Mm.
sanctioned Team Canada, right? BCHL left Hockey Canada because Hockey Canada is butt. You know what? And
Yes.
in light of recent allegations that are coming out, once
Mhm.
again, we decided to leave this out of the fan forum tonight. Thankfully, we did because it was a long episode, but we left that part out of it just because it's a little bit heavy. We want to get our fans involved as well, and we feel
Mhm.
like that would just incite a riot, and we don't do that here. But Hockey Canada, they got their own mess going on. Do you really want to be associated with Hockey Canada right now? Anyways, that's
Yeah.
the question. That's the question.
This is a good question that John asks. Well, not really a question, but I feel bad for people that have season tickets for those teams that are moving to the BC Hockey League. Wonder what the ticket prices are going to be like, right? So
Yeah,
how there's a lot of logistics there
there
that
is.
kind of you don't even think about, and the fact that it's mid-season and things just kind of happen so abruptly that now they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, you're not playing anymore. Too bad, so sad, right? But
Well, and that's where this isn't
it's
fair, right? Okay,
mhm,
so you're getting in trouble for telling the league that you're currently in the breakup you're about to go through,
yeah.
right? Like we're gonna break up in a while. We're gonna break up. We're
It's
gonna
gonna
break up at
happen.
the end
What's
of the
gonna
year.
happen? But
I'm
you
letting you
don't.
know the
Yeah.
breakup's coming. Well, I want to break up right now. Well, tell me how that works. Tell me what planet that works, right? Um, and you're not thinking about the kids.
Mm-mm.
You're when kids are coming up trying to become a hockey player and they go through the AJ system,
Mhm.
these kids are coming up with a destroyed school. Uh,
Yeah.
their what do you call it? Their education. Thank you. Whoa.
Whoa.
But their education is just absolutely destroyed because they're putting sports first. They're putting
Mhm.
hockey first. So also they're away from their families. They're living with billet families, billet
Yes.
parents, right? So you're disrupting a lot of lives
Mhm.
throughout a hockey season at that level, at junior.
Well, and not only that, right? If I recall correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, but you said that there were some teams now that don't have a league at all.
Well, no, there's no. So there's still no. There's still teams that are in the AJ.
So they're still staying.
Well, the Fort
with
McMurray
them.
Oil Barons are still in the
Yes.
AJHL.
Okay.
But tell me how that's going to work for them on their travel.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, because now there's less teams. There's
you got to make up the
yeah.
games and all of that, or you're going to try to bring in what it is they may step some teams up into that AJHL league, right? From a lower division.
Right.
Just in a different
Fill in some spots.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Like, we really don't know what's going to happen. From what we hear, like, there's nobody that's moving in immediately. Nobody's trying to get their team in there. Nobody's trying to start up a team. Nobody's trying to move around a team. So it's just subtraction for now. It's
That's
subtract
crazy.
5. And it's the Spruce Grove Saints and the Sherwood Park Crusaders, which we're talking about very, very historical, important teams in Alberta hockey history. Not including Brooks Bandits. I forget the other two off the top of my head, but I do know that this, like, completely shutting down the season.
Yeah.
When you're giving you're giving them like this massive heads up, and the league is going to go ahead and shut you down.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
At least let them finish it.
Finish the year.
Just finish the year, and that's it. Like that's crazy. I don't agree with that.
And John is correct. 11 teams. That's the number.
Yeah.
So thank you, John. John did ask last question in here. What do you guys think of Princess Auto Stadium in Winnipeg? It's no longer IG Field. Princess Auto Stadium. How do you feel about that name?
I don't know. I don't like. Yes, I found out. Is it because Princess Auto bought it?
Well, they bought the naming rights.
The naming rights.
Yeah. It's like the Brickfield.
Dumb name though. Like, why would they decide to go for that? Just to put their name on it, of course. I mean, when you're thinking about marketing and you're thinking about advertising, that's the most advertising that you could do. Yeah. Really. But
Investors Group also, right? They also didn't want to resume. You have to remember this. It's like the Air Canada Center when they changed that to Scotiabank Arena.
Yeah.
Or Scotiabank Center,
of course,
whatever.
they just want their name on that.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a dumb name.
You can go to a football game and get your car fixed within 4 hours. Thank you, John. You're correct. You're right, buddy.
It's going to get confusing. You're going to get a lot of farmers going to that stadium now.
You could probably do some good, like, 4-H shows and stuff. Some good livestock auctions, and just nothing wrong with Princess Auto. I shop there. Great garbage tools. Good throwaway stuff. And you know what? Some stuff lasts too. So it's not just junk. Definitely not junk.
My mom used to work there.
Exactly. Princess Auto. I will say, Princess Auto, I've always just thought the name Princess Auto was really stupid. So it's rather unfortunate that they went ahead and did that. But hey, IG Field, aka Investors Group Field, Princess Auto, Investors Group Field. I'll take Commonwealth Stadium every day of the week. Guys, we're gonna go ahead and close the fan forum. And with that, at an hour and a half, we're at the end of tonight's show. We'd like to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, whether you are watching on Shotgun Sports Network on YouTube, or on X, or on Facebook, or listening on Edmonton Sports Talk, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. For the Elks Call, my name is Scout, aka the Rep from Section X.
And I'm Catherine, aka Do You and Elks.
Thanks again, everybody. Have an awesome night.
Thank you.
See you in 2 weeks. Cheers.